See if you like this place before we tell you where, precisely where, Pathé Pic's magic carpet has suddenly taken you. Dotted along this canal are gay dance joints. Sailors the world over reckon that this is the capital city of the whole exciting world. Nelson knew this seaport and knocked a few spots off it, but he didn't alter the salty character of... Copenhagen, and the song invites us on a journey of gaiety and carefree happiness. You step ashore into this exciting Scandinavian city to get a first impression of a seafaring people which never really leaves you. Copenhagen, and it hasn't changed its carefree habits or its frisky liveliness in the lifetime of its oldest inhabitants. Yet it's the youngest city in existence, as young as recurring spring. Everything in life is in walking distance from this fish market, which nestles under the green copper statues and towers and spires that leave you splitting your head for the right adjective. It's a northern capital, yet surprisingly, it's a place of pavement cafes, a city built for fun, where 1 minute's walk away from the Town Hall Tower, you're in the Tivoli Gardens, the most reelingly fabulous fun spot in the whole fun-loving world. London took the Tivoli Gardens as their model for the Battersea Playground, and London fell far short. And there the diversified fun of it is, spread out right in the center of a modern city. Veteran cars and a pleasure ground packed with theaters, concert halls, 19 restaurants and electric heaters under the sunshade covers, just in case the north wind intervenes. The Tivoli is the perfect paradise for everyone young or young at heart or keen on happiness, so get in the swing. Life goes on at such a pace for all of us that there isn't time to take more than a quick glimpse of the zoo, a children's playground that is in effect another garden of greenery, where most of the animals either are or appear to be at absolute liberty. Copenhagen, and here's the secret of the place. The most stirring of its statues is the little life-size one that Hans Andersen inspired. There she is, clutching her seaweed, looking out from the harbour to that very Danish thing, the sea, which the hydrofoil these days rides so throbbingly fast. It's as far from Copenhagen to Sweden as it is from Dover to Calais, but in the hydrofoil you do it in 20 minutes. It's like an aeroplane. Sweden, but of course the sea here is so narrow that just to the north at Elsinore you can yacht off the Danish coast and feel you could reach out and touch the Swedish shore. This narrow waterway that leads from our own North Sea to the Baltic all through the summer is dotted with little yachts. This is the scene that Shakespeare, having got his facts wrong, would have set for Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, because this is Hamlet's castle at Elsinore. It's a castle that was, in fact, built only in the 16th century in Dutch Renaissance style. But it's Hamlet's castle, and it's in tune with all the earlier Copenhagen loveliness. You're never far from water in or around this glittering city, where you best see the wonderful sights by taking a tram. In winter, those horses pull sleighs through the snow to this cafe. At any time, the food is something to see, not only something delicious to eat. Yet the great joy to any Copenhagener is to get himself to one of the hot sausage stalls, where there's mustard too, served up in a screw of greaseproof paper. capital of the world, and it's still a city of cyclists. They're the postmen. But cycling, of course, is their Sunday sport. Today, the Danes are racing against the world champions, the Russian Olympic team. Watch them both work the pace-setting switch formula. Which of them can triumph in this great race? The Danes have won. And now get ready for the cat and mouse contest when the markers are ready, the poker game of the cycle track, the tandem race where you play it cool and bluff and wait your chance. The tension's rising. Watch them. The radio commentator's head is turned by it all, and Denmark has won again by the look of it. Yes, yes, and that calls for celebration. The Tivoli Guard. These Tivoli boys grow up so often to be the King's Guard that goes on parade at the Royal Castle every day. Though in wonderful, wonderful Copenhagen, you're just as likely to see the King or one of the royal princesses out in the street. Copenhagen, wonderful Copenhagen indeed, where even the soldiery are part of the toyland pattern of life. But now, swiftly, it's getting nearly night. The northern shadows are growing longer and longer, and night is the very thing we're waiting for, here where those Tivoli gardens beckon us as they do. Copenhagen is at play. Copenhagen has become, as it does every night, Hans Andersen's fairyland. In Tivoli, or a step away in the center of town, this is the capital of the world of lovely fun. As it was with the green copper spires, when the Tivoli fireworks start, you rack your brain for an adjective magical enough to describe the thrill of it all.
Swedes, Norwegians, Danes. Descendants of the ancient Vikings who crossed the Atlantic 500 years before Columbus discovered America. People who look much alike, speak similar languages, who live in Scandinavia. In the extreme north of Europe, as far north as Alaska, are the countries of Scandinavia: Denmark, Norway, Sweden. Much of Norway and Sweden lie within the Arctic Circle. Yet, for the most part, the climate is moderate, with warm summers and winters much like those in the northern United States. From the Gulf of Mexico, a current of warm water, like a river in the sea, flows northeastward across the Atlantic. This Atlantic drift, or Gulf Stream, and the westerly winds which blow from it, warm much of northern Europe, producing a temperate climate in these lands which would otherwise be very cold. A peninsula jutting from the European mainland and about 500 islands make up the archipelago of Denmark, the smallest country of Scandinavia, one of the smallest in Europe, a land about half the size of the state of Maine. Here, no mountains or fjords or rushing streams. No empty wilderness of glaciers and forests as in Norway. Instead, mile upon mile of open farmland to which the people of Denmark have turned for their livelihood. Over 75% of the land is usable for farming. Few countries have so large a percentage of workable farmland. The Nielsens are farmers, small farmers. Eric Nielsen owns his own 40 acres, and with the help of his family, works it without outside help. Their home is typical of Danish farmhouses. Comfortable, clean, and equipped with most of the conveniences of modern living. Danish farms are among the most efficient in the world. The soil is relatively infertile, but careful cultivation, hard work, mechanization, and scientific methods have made it highly productive for a wide range of crops. Vegetables, sugar beets, grain. 70 years ago, Denmark produced mostly grain. Then competition from the great wheat fields of the New World forced a change. The Danes turned to large-scale livestock production, developing their own cattle breeds, like the Red Danish, which supplies milk, meat, butter, and cheese to much of Europe. They developed their own breed of pigs, which have made Danish ham and bacon famous. There is little left to chance on a Danish farm. Scientific feeding produces animals of remarkably uniform quality in the shortest possible time. Danish farmers work closely together, meeting on each other's farms to exchange information. They study the latest agricultural methods and research findings. But cooperation goes beyond exchange of information. Most dairies to which the farmers send their milk are owned in common by the farmers themselves. They are called cooperatives. Through these non-profit cooperatives, farmers are able to purchase their equipment and supplies, market their products economically, and maintain standards which make Danish farm products seem as if they came from one gigantic farm instead of from thousands of small ones. Danish-designed butter churns and the best in modern equipment help maintain high levels of production. Butter is the main product of Danish farms. Most of it is exported to Britain. Danish cheese is known around the world. Eggs, packed by the cooperative, bearing the stamp of Danish quality control, are sold largely to Germany and Spain. At cooperative schools, education is continued well beyond the age when most leave school. Farm families shop at cooperatively owned stores. For over 100 years, cooperatives have flourished in Denmark. Agriculture is the basis of the Danish economy. These farms and the people who work them, Denmark's greatest resource. There is limestone used in the making of cement under much of the country. But there is little else. Denmark is extremely poor in natural resources. Raw materials for industry must be almost entirely imported. Wood, for the fine Danish furniture which has created a worldwide demand for itself. Steel for building ships and for the giant diesel engines which drive them. The majority of the people work in industry or trade. The value of manufactured goods now accounts for almost half of the income Denmark receives from exports. Agricultural products still the most important. Copenhagen is the capital. 1.25 million of Denmark's 4.5 million people live here. It's a city of whirling bicycles, handsome people, parks, and art that reflects the Danish spirit. The Little Mermaid from the tales of Denmark's beloved Hans Christian Andersen looks out across Copenhagen's harbor. The people of Denmark, energetic, intelligent, educated, disciplined, have created a nation and a standard of living envied by much of the world, and done it in spite of an almost total lack of natural resources.
How about a ferry ride to a corner of Europe where there's a chance to change gear and park yourself in a way of life that really appreciates good food and luxury living? Denmark is the destination. But Denmark starts here at Harwich. Sample the Scandinavian atmosphere aboard the sleekest and largest car-carrying ship afloat, the 10,000-ton vessel graciously named by her Danish owners, the England. It's as much like an ocean cruise as an 18-hour introduction to Denmark, churning effortlessly across the old Viking highway, which tested the courage and ambition of those bearded warriors who sailed westwards in their longboats 1,000 years ago. Today, it's a journey with such tasty innovations that spell out Scandinavia's charm. Canute didn't introduce such civilized customs when he came to ransack England. In fact, it's this floating bit of Denmark called England which puts you in the mood for relaxation. So sit back and drink it all in. The Danish hors d'oeuvre seems almost over before it's begun. The main course lies ahead. Denmark itself, and Copenhagen, with its spacious squares and the Tivoli playground inviting you to explore further this fairy tale city of towers and spires and statues. The fairy tale is really one man, Hans Christian Andersen, the children's storyteller who arrived penniless to become as famous as the storks he saw nesting high above the cobbled streets of Ribe, Denmark's oldest town. The charm of Ribe contrasts strongly to the importance of Esbjerg. Here's where that seafaring Danish tradition comes into its own once more, with a fleet of over 500 fishing vessels to net the rich pickings of the North Sea. There's hard bargaining for soul and place on the Esbjerg waterfront at dawn, and you've got to mind your step when selecting the fish that will soon become a table delicacy in a Copenhagen restaurant. It's just a question of hammering out a right price with the auctioneer. Whether it's buying or selling or just having a flutter on the favorite, the Danes keep pace with all the good things this kingdom of 500 islands has to offer. Away from capital Copenhagen, even here at Aarhus, the tempo of life is constantly changing. Time just seems to jog along in North Jutland. No rush, no big city hurry. A visit to the old world village near Hostelbro is a step back into Anderson's Goose Girl days. And magically, these houses have been brought from country districts and rebuilt, brick by brick, timber by timber, on this site. How the Danes love to revive their past. And they've recreated the Denmark Hans Andersen knew in an open-air museum at Aarhus. You can drink from a pump which once served 17th century farmers. And how hard it is to realize we're just walking distance from the center of the second city of this busy land. Proud symbols of craftsmanship hang above the doorways, beckoning you to explore the now silent workshops. The bookbinder's shop, the rope makers, all are faithfully recreated. So often a roadway is a waterway because no traveller across the country can escape a ferry ride at some time or other. Water has patterned the landscape, especially here, where a 100-year-old paddle steamer chugs through Jutland's Lake District scenery. Pass by the evidence that Danes love to relax in style. Waterfront weekend homes that offer all the comfort and seclusion that Copenhagen is finding hard to match. Scandinavia's ultra-modern influence on our lives, its designers, its architects, surely stems from the simplicity of an age when the thatcher was a busy man. It's still the same in some Jutland villages today. An old custom lives on in this corner of Denmark that has become a popular seaside resort for Germans as well as Danes, the island of Fanø, with its seafaring reminders tucked away in cottage doorways. Now, this is an unsuspected aspect of Little Denmark, a wide stretch of silvery sand that was the scene of Malcolm Campbell's land speed record triumph in 1924. Years ago, they started running a bus service here. A Dutchman, of all people, founded Fanø as Denmark's first bathing resort 100 years ago. Could this be the northern answer to a Mediterranean sunspot? Certainly there's room to splash around and even enjoy a game usually reserved for a green, not sandy carpet. Five train hours from this North Sea resort and you're back among the bright lights of Copenhagen, the city that shelters half of Denmark's population. The Eastern Isles, Jutland and Funen, enjoy another, quieter way of life which offers all the Danish hospitality without the big city bustle. When the ferry pulls out for that 60-minute journey to the capital island of Zealand, you can't pull a mask over the memories of that other Denmark. The fairy tale image of Hans Andersen is still very much alive.
Wonderful Copenhagen, friendly old girl of town. 'Neath her tavern light on this merry night, let us clink and drink one down. To wonderful Copenhagen, salty old queen of the sea. Once I sailed away, but I'm home today, singing Copenhagen, wonderful Copenhagen for me. I sailed up the Skagerrak and sailed down the Kattegat, through the harbor and up to the quay, and there she stands waiting for me with a welcome so warm and so gay. Wonderful Copenhagen. 'neath her tavern light on this merry night. Let us drink and drink one down to wonderful, wonderful Copenhagen, salty old queen of the sea. Once I sailed away, but I'm home today, singing Copenhagen, wonderful, wonderful.